Hi guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Linda and I make videos about life in Canada. If you're not new here and you're subscribed and you're part of the channel and you've been supporting the channel, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. If you're new here, please take this moment to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification button so that you get a notification every time I post a video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the post-graduation work permit, which is a work permit that is available for students who have graduated from university and are looking for Canadian work experience. I'm just going to be talking about some of the things to prep for if you would like to pursue that application, and also what are the things to keep in mind while you are applying, some of the rules and conditions to keep in mind to make sure that your application is successful. So what is a post-graduation work permit? I'm going to be reading some blurbs, by the way, from the Canadian immigration website. And so I'll be looking down because I have my laptop as usual, just to make sure that I give you guys the right information. So the post-graduation work permit, also known as the Pgwp, allows students who have graduated from a participating Canadian post-secondary institution to gain valuable Canadian work experience. Work obtained through the post-graduation work permit program may help support your application to become a permanent resident in Canada. So this is very important, and I think the other thing to highlight is it's only for students who have graduated from participating Canadian post-secondary institutions, which means you need to make sure that whatever study program you take in Canada, it is with a university or college that is one of these participating Canadian universities. So that's something to keep in mind. So what are the requirements for eligibility to apply for the Pgwp? First of all, you can apply either inside or outside of Canada. I applied inside, so I'm going to be speaking about that experience. So to apply for the Pgwp, these are the rules. You have 180 days to apply for the Pgwp after you get your degree or diploma, and you have your official transcript, and you also have an official letter from your school. So the official letter is usually a letter of completion that you will get from the university once you've graduated from the program that you majored in. And it also says to be eligible, your study permit must have been valid at some point during those 180 days. So basically, once you've graduated and you've received confirmation from university that you've met all the graduation requirements, you have 180 days to apply for the Pgwp. And with that application, you will also send in the official letter and the official transcript, as well as a copy of your degree or diploma, and it has to be within those 180 days. So one thing to keep in mind is it's very important that your study permit is still valid when you're applying for the Pgwp. It actually says on the website that do not let your status expire while you wait for your marks or your graduation results. So it says if you stay in Canada and let your permit expire, you must apply to restore your status as a student to apply for your Pgwp. So in the case that your study permit does expire, or you didn't realize that it was expiring soon and it's now expired and you're trying to apply for your Pgwp, I think the best thing to do is to reapply for your student status, or extend your study permit, and then you'll be able to apply for the post-graduation work permit. You must have your study permit in valid status while you're applying for this work permit. So once you've applied for the work permit, you're basically under what they call implied status, which means you're waiting for the Pgwp application to be processed, and then you'll receive a decision on it. So you're like in between. You're not really a student, but you're also not a work permit holder. So while you're in that status, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. You can actually still start applying for jobs, but there's certain conditions and rules that you need to keep in mind. So the top ones on the website are: you must have a valid study permit, you must have completed your program or study, and you must be eligible to work off campus without a permit, and you did not work off campus more than 20 hours a week during academic sessions. So this is very important. I think a lot of people sometimes don't take that rule seriously. In Canada, if you're a student, you are eligible to study and work part-time, but the maximum is 20 hours, so you cannot work more than 20 hours. Even if you like slightly work like 21 hours, you have basically breached the immigration law. So it's something to keep in mind, because a lot of students don't think this is a serious rule, but it is a serious rule. And if you've broken that rule, what that means is, as long as you're still waiting for your work permit decision to be made, you cannot start working. Whereas if you follow all these rules and everything is clean and good to go, you can actually start working even if you're not you don't have your work permit with you, which is actually something that I did, and I think it helps because then you're able to start looking for jobs quite early. You don't have to wait, because also the work permit takes a while to be processed. So imagine if it takes 6 months, that means you have 6 months to literally just do nothing. You can't work because it'll be illegal for you to do so. So I would really encourage you guys to, while you're a student, to make sure that you abide by the rules of the study permit and do not work more than 20 hours, and it'll, in the long run, it'll help you when you're applying for your work permit. Okay, so lastly, I just wanted to highlight some rules and conditions that you must keep in mind for the work permit application. The first one on the website is you must maintain full-time status as a student in Canada during each semester of your study program. So what this means is, when you apply to study at any university, during the academic terms, you are expected to be a full-time student. So a full-time student doesn't necessarily mean you can't work. You can still work the 20 hours, but you cannot go more than 20 hours. And then in the summer terms, which is usually like between May to September, you can then work more than 20 hours because you don't have to take classes during the summertime, and you can work your 40 hours. So it's important that you maintain and abide by those laws. It also does say that this rule of being a student full-time does not include your final semester. So in your final semester, you could be a part-time student. That's allowed. It does not interfere with your work permit application. So you can take part-time studies in your last semester. The second thing I wanted to highlight is the fees. So the work permit costs about 155 Canadian dollars. However, it also says you must pay $100, an extra $100 for the open work permit holder fee. I guess they charge an extra fee for you to be able to work and apply to different jobs in different industries, which is one of the good things about the work permit, is you're not restricted. And I mentioned this in my previous video. If you haven't watched my previous video, I will put up a link up here so you can see the previous video where I talk a bit more in detail about how the work permit helps you to prepare for applying for the permanent residency. But with this point, the work permit allows you to work in any job, any industry, and you can gain Canadian work experience in any of the industries, so it's not restricted, which is a really good thing. And the third thing that I wanted to highlight about the work permit is it is actually a once in a lifetime opportunity. And what that means is you can't extend it, you can't renew it. So once you apply for your work permit, you get your decision, hopefully it's successful, and you get your work permit. You cannot apply for it again. Even if you go back to school, let's say you go to grad school a few years later, you can't reapply for the work permit. It's a once you apply once and that's it. And then the last point that I wanted to highlight is the work permit is valid for a maximum 3 years, and how the period that it's valid for is determined by how long your university program was. So for example, so my university program was 3 years, so it took me 3 years to finish my major, my undergrad major, and I got a work permit for 3 years. But if it had taken me 4 years, my work permit would still be 3 years, because the work permit is only valid for 3 years maximum. So that's the maximum amount. So if you get a diploma and the diploma program was only worth 2 years, or it took you 2 years to graduate, it is possible that your work permit will only be valid for 2 years. Yeah, so it's just something to keep in mind. I think it's always best if you do the undergrad program and you take the longest one. Just don't go over 3 years, because even if you study a program for more than 3 years or 4, the work permit is only limited to 3 years. So that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so that's all I had in terms of what the post-graduation work permit is, the Pgwp is, and what to keep in mind when you're applying for it and once you've received your Pgwp. And thank you so much for watching. If you've watched up until this point, please do remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel to help it grow and support the channel grow. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.